Hello and welcome back to my channel where I teach you about investing, financial freedom and just in general how to save money. So in this video I'm going to teach you how to save money and how to make a budget. I'll be teaching you the general mindset and some great ways to do this, as well as some ways to actually save money on things like rent or food or just the other basic things that pretty much everyone has to buy. So if you're interested, then keep watching this video. Okay, so you may have heard the saying, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. Now that is really true. So even if we're doing something like saving money, we really want a plan. So when we actually make a plan, it makes it so much easier for us to actually properly visualize what we're doing, as well as give us something to work towards. So it's really crucial to make a plan. So when we're making a plan or a goal, what we want to do is we want to set a dollar amount or whatever your currency is, or a percentage amount. So for example, we can either say, I want to save $10,000 this year, or we could say, I want to save 30% of my salary this year. Now that's up for you to decide because obviously everyone's different. And some of the best ways to do this is we want to break it down into the smallest possible amounts that we can. So what I mean by this is saying that I want to save 10,000 in a year, that's a great goal, but we want to make it smaller. So we say, I want to save 10,000 per year. That means I want to save around $30 a day. It's slightly less, but we're just going to call it 30. So the reason we want to break it down into such small chunks is because when we're going through our day, that will help to remind us. If we have daily goals, then it's way easier. It's easier to do just a small bit every day than it is to do a really big thing. It's easier for us to change our habits and change our mindset when we just have to do a smaller task. Every time you make a purchase, you'll be thinking, today I need to save this much and I can only spend this much. So I can't go over this limit, otherwise, no, I'm breaking my promise to myself about saving money. So it really will help you if you break it down into smaller chunks. Okay, so you've done your goals, you know exactly what you're working towards, so excellent, good job. Now we need to make a budget. So to help us to meet our goals, we need to know everything that is coming in, everything that is going out. And yes, I mean everything, really everything. So even if it's just like a coffee or something small, you have to write it down. If you don't know what's coming in and what's going out exactly, and you don't know exactly how much money you have, then it's going to be so much harder for you to work towards these budgeting goals. So if you think about it, the small things, they really do add up. That's why we need to know. If you buy a coffee 5 days a week, then that's $100 a month. And that's more than $1,000 a year. It's $1,200. So that really does add up over time. So that's why we need to write down everything. Really everything. Once you've made your budget, then it's going to be super easy for you to see exactly where you're overspending, where you're underspending, the kind of things that you need to try and cut back on or get a better deal on. There's loads of free services. All you need to do is just Google it and you'll find one that you like, or just look on the App Store. Those really do help because obviously when we're in the moment, if we get in the habit to writing it down exactly, then we really will remember it, rather than if we're doing it later when we come home, there's a chance that we could have forgotten half of the stuff. So yeah, I really do recommend looking for one of those free apps. Okay, so now we've got some of the basics out of the way, I'm going to focus on the mindsets of saving money. So there's two really good ways that we can do this. Number one is to gamify our finances. So this means I kind of make it a game about how much money I have. So every time I see that number, which I check it regularly, I'm always trying to increase it. It's like I'm trying to increase my high score, like on a game. So what this does is every time that I have to buy something, I know in my head, my number's going to go down. That means I'm losing the game. I want the number to go up, or at least stay the same. So this kind of changes my attitude to being more of like a saving attitude than a spending attitude. Okay, so one great way to use this technique is with alerts from your bank. So you can set up alerts with most services so that every time that you receive or send money, then it actually tells you how much and it tells you what your total is left. So this really, really helps with the whole game aspect, because every time you buy something, you're getting an alert or a text or whatever it is that's literally telling you, hey, you spent money, this is how much you spent, and this is how much you've got left. So you really do see your score like dropping as you're buying things, and every month when you get paid, you see it go back up again. And it really, really does help with working towards increasing the number, because you know you're just way more consciously aware. Because every time you buy something, you get this feedback from them saying like, hey, you bought something, it's going down, and it's just a subconscious thing that it will help you to gamify it. So method number 2, and this one is a lesson straight from the school of real life. So this is something called Parkinson's Law. And Parkinson's Law says that most of the time, most people, they will make do with what they have. So if you can think of an assignment that you've had or some kind of work, well, if you had a month to do it, then you kind of left it until you really needed to, and then just at the last minute, you managed to finish it in a month. Or if you were given 2 weeks to do it, then you know you would be working like super hard all the time, and you would finish it in just 2 weeks. It's kind of that natural human thing of how hard we push ourselves. We kind of push ourselves to meet the requirements just exactly. So what we're going to do here with our finances is we're going to cut our finances a bit and then work with what we have left. So what we're going to do is, as soon as we get paid, we're going to have direct withdrawals set up. So every month on our payday, our account will take out a certain amount. You'll automatically take that amount out of your account and put it into another account, a savings account or an investment account or whatever it is. So this is obviously a really powerful way to save money, because it really just forces you to make do with just this bit that you've got left. And then after a few months of doing that, then you'll be able to go back to it and you'll notice that you'll have saved up way more money. Okay, so moving on to food again. So with food, obviously we need to eat healthy and it's important to keep our health, but we don't necessarily need to spend loads of money on doing that. If we're eating out every day, then that can really start to massively add up. So what we want to do is we want to meal prep at home. We can buy in bulk from the supermarket, taking advantage of things like sales, and yeah, just at home prepare lots of meals and store them separately. And then when you're ready to eat it, you can just take it out and put it in the microwave and you're done. It really will save you so much money. If you're eating out, you know, even if you're just spending like $15, $20, well, $20 every day, that can really add up. We did speak earlier in the video that $30 a day will save you $10,000 over a year. So when you think about it like that, eating out, it really, really is so expensive compared to preparing your meals at home and bringing them with you. The other way is don't buy branded stuff. A lot of the time, you know, there's not really that big of a difference between the supermarket brand and like the well-known famous brand. It's most of that like money is just really in the advertising. So those products are usually quite comparable. And this also goes into cleaning products. So for me, cleaning products, I just want the cheapest ones possible because I think they all clean the same. Okay, so the next one is drinks, and this is one that I'm super passionate about because I hate spending money on drinks. So first, let's talk about non-alcoholic drinks. And let me remind you that in your home, you probably have a tap with water in it that provides an almost free drink. So for me, what I do is I fill up bottles of water and I carry them around with me wherever I go. I take the big litre or 1.5 litre bottles because I know if I have that in my bag, I'm not going to need a drink for the whole day. I can just drink that. It's super healthy as well, and also it's really, really cheap. After you spend so long drinking water, you actually don't even want to buy the other stuff. So when I go to restaurants, I just get the free water. Or if it's not even on the menu, you can just ask them, because almost all restaurants, they will give you free water if you ask for it, even if it's not on the menu. So like drinks, they're super, super marked up and they're so expensive. So if you can just have drinks for free, then you're really going to save so much money. Okay, and next let's talk about alcoholic drinks. So lots of people, they spend loads of money on nights out. So what you need to do here, what myself and my friends, we always did, we would drink at home for like several hours. Like many people, they drink at home for a bit before going out, but we would drink at home for several hours, like to the point where we were real drunk before we even went out. And then we would just go out to the bars or the clubs or whatever for just like a few hours. And, you know, that would be enough to just keep us going. In the clubs, there's usually someone who's trying to show off or do something and buy everyone free drinks. Even if there's not, then what I would do is I would just get a glass of water, and it kind of like almost tricked my brain into thinking like, oh yeah, I'm drinking something, so like I'm having fun. Like again, the clubs and bars, most of the time they'll give you free water. We save so much money doing that. Another great way is to just take a really small amount of money with you. So I actually did this when I was first starting, when I was training myself, is I would leave everything at home, except I would take my phone and I would take just the amount of money that I needed for a taxi home. Even when I was drinking, I would know like, hey, I definitely cannot spend any money here because I will not be able to get home. Okay, so the next one is rent. So there's actually loads of ways you can reduce your rent. They're just kind of a bit unconventional. Obviously, the most conventional one is get a flatmate or a roommate, live with someone else that you can split the rent with. Another one would be using Airbnb to kind of rent out your spare rooms. When you have someone visiting, you can go stay with a friend while they're paying a much higher rate to stay in your place. Another one that actually I never ever see anyone talk about, but this is a really good one, is you can actually work for someone else for like rent and food. If you speak a language that's a really, really useful and big language around the world, then it's actually not that strange to think that a family would want you to live with them to teach their child that language. So obviously it's a bit inconvenient, like you have to live by someone else's rules, and you do have to give up a little bit of freedom, but on the flip side you will save so much money. So yeah, that's just another option to consider. So if you're looking to do something like that, then obviously you need to research it online. Maybe you can find a company that will help you, or perhaps you might be able to find some groups online. Obviously you need to be careful, because if it's like some random strangers on the internet, it's probably not as legitimate as a business that can actually help to connect you with these people. Okay, so the next one is transportation, and this is actually a major cost. So in America, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, it's kind of a hard one to say fast, they actually found that the average cost of running a vehicle is $9,000 a year. So that is obviously quite a high cost. If we can use things like public transport, then that's going to drastically reduce that cost. You don't need any like flashy car to try and impress people, because it really just will be a money pit that you're constantly throwing money at. Remember, with cars, you have to pay for the insurance, you have to pay for the fuel, you have to pay for the like tests and checkups and tires and making sure everything's safe. You have to pay for the car itself, and then the second that you buy it, it loses like a third of its value, sometimes more, and it's only going to keep losing value over time. So really, really, like, a car is so expensive, and yeah, if you can use public transport, or like even like rideshare, get lifts with someone else, there's so many different ways to save money on that, and I really do recommend it if it's possible for you. Okay, so the next one is phone bills, internet bills, utilities. So most people, they never ever shop around for these. In fact, loads of people, they just stay on the same phone contract for years. That's why the phone companies are willing to offer you free phones, or like sweet deals in some case, because they know that once they get you, you're likely to just stay with them for a really long time until you can actually like be bothered to change it. So you really do need to be actively looking, because again, if you haven't changed your provider in a while, there's a chance that someone else will offer you a better deal, because the one that you're paying now, they're not going to tell you that they're offering their new customers a better deal if you're not asking about it. Okay, so the final one is clothing, and this one I've spoken about before in other videos. So if you want to save money on clothing, then you can use thrift shops, charity shops, as well as sales. So in the winter, the summer clothes will be really discounted, and in the summer, winter clothes will be discounted. You do have to wait about 6 months to wear them, but it's definitely worth it to save loads of money. As well, also, like, you can actually sell your own clothes on eBay. Most people don't realize this. I've made a ton of money selling my old clothes on eBay. If you list things on eBay properly, like with a really good photo and a really good description, then you can actually sell them for more money than you think. And again, you can also use eBay for buying clothes. It's kind of like a thrift store or something. It just saves you so much money. And lastly, like, stay away from really big brands, because they're really obviously expensive. At the end of the day, all you need is just clothes to wear. I actually think that, like, you can look really good in super cheap clothes. You definitely don't need expensive clothes to look good. If you've enjoyed this video, then thank you for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe. That really would help me out. I really appreciate it. So yeah, thank you everyone, and bye bye.